Jules Polonetsky here from the Future of Privacy Forum with some thoughts about ad blocking. I've always had a really conflicted view about ad blocking. On one hand, we know that websites, the Facebooks of the world, the apps we use are free because they're supported by ads. And so it doesn't seem all that fair to strip out the ads. Newspapers are having a really hard time. So many of them are losing revenue. They need to pay reporters if we want serious reporting and quality content. Someone's got to make a living. Doesn't quite seem quite fair for people or for companies to provide ad blocking tools that strip that out. Maybe it's your right, it's your computer, it's your decision, but it doesn't seem like something we should be enthusiastic about. Unfortunately though, lots of people tell us, and we've done research that has made this clear, that the reason they're using an ad blocker is it's not that they don't want ads. They don't want ads that make it impossible for them to browse, that pop up and block content, that end up tricking them to click, or that are offensive clickbait. Or they're worried about privacy. They're worried about tracking and their information being shared with many third parties and even beyond, and that's why they use ad blockers. Others, usually a little savvier, understand that some ads create a real risk when they're delivered by third parties and they're not properly vetted. They can have bad code that executes on your computer and puts your browser at risk, steals your information. The experts call it malvertising. So how do we tell people who say, the reason I use an ad blocker is that these ads are terrible, they're annoying, they're intrusive, they invade my privacy, or they create a security risk? I understand. Some people who are really savvy even understand that on mobile, a lot of your data use is related to some third-party advertising. Some studies have shown that a significant part of your data use when you're browsing the mobile web is due to ad delivery. So we've always been conflicted. We'd rather people didn't use ad blockers. There are security tools that can solve those problems, but when people are using ad blockers to accomplish that, how do you tell them not? So with that backdrop, interesting to consider what Facebook did this week. Many of you may have seen coverage of Facebook rolling out a process that makes it harder for ad blockers to work on Facebook. Now here's what you have to understand. Facebook is obviously a very large publisher. They serve their own ads. They check them, they test them, they vet them. They don't allow third parties who typically insert ads around the web to deliver those ads into your experience on Facebook. They do allow third parties to send along tracking code that counts how many times the ads are seen, determines they've been delivered, tracks what happens off of Facebook. Facebook also has an advertising business off of Facebook where they track. We all see like buttons. We understand that when I see a like button, information is being sent back to Facebook. A user has rendered that page. What Facebook did this week is they're still allowing ad blockers to block all sorts of tracking off of Facebook when you interact with Facebook code, when you interact with like buttons. That will always be blocked. They're allowing the ad blockers to continue blocking third-party tracking on Facebook. So those tracking companies that help advertisers understand what's happening and deliver that code, ad blockers are still going to be able to block that. What they've made it harder to do is for ad blockers to determine what is an ad on Facebook, because remember, Facebook is delivering it themselves. Today, the ad blockers take a look at the code and they can determine this is coming from the Facebook ad server. So Facebook has taken some steps to obscure that, make it harder for the ad blockers to understand that this is an ad on Facebook. So they're trying to prevent the ad blockers from blocking ads that you see on Facebook. By the way, ads on Facebook typically don't pop up, they don't cover your page. Facebook keeps them in some clear parameters. You've got some tools to say I don't want ads from different advertisers, I don't like these kinds of ads. They are continuing to allow ad blockers to do all the privacy and security things. So we thought that was an interesting compromise, right? People who just hate all ads are not going to be happy. But for those of us who are sympathetic to ads being there when they're polite and they're proper, understanding that Facebook implemented this in a way that allows people who are using ad blockers for privacy reasons to block that third-party code, to block the tracking code, to block even the Facebook like buttons and all the activity off of Facebook, that we thought was an interesting balance. In our conversations with Facebook before they announced this feature, we thought that was an interesting compromise that allows people to use ad blockers for security and privacy, allows folks who are dealing with ad blockers because of really intrusive ads, but to continue to support decent, clean advertising from being delivered. One more broader thought about this big issue, because this is unique to Facebook or perhaps other very large publishers who are in the position to do the same thing. But to the broader industry, one of the hard things we need to do, and I say this we as a group supported not only by foundations and advocates and academics, but a wide range of companies. One of the things companies need to recognize is if we don't solve this problem, it will be solved in ways that advertisers and publishers don't like by others, whether it's browsers, whether it's Facebooks, whether it's third-party tools that consumers want. That cannot be stopped. This is the internet, as we all know, and people route around what is a problem. We're in Washington, and many people ask us, hey, you guys are in the know about Washington and policy. Are there going to be laws that deal with privacy? And we always say, look, there may be, there likely to be, but you, number one, ought to be thinking about the law of the web, which is that code is the law. If you are a problem, the browsers of the world, the Facebooks of the world, the platforms of the world, they've got a complicated set of motives. At the end of the day, they want to be used by consumers. That is their number one thing. Yes, of course, some of them also have advertising businesses, so their motives can be complex. But at the end of the day, if you are doing something that consumers perceive as a policy problem, as a consumer problem, the web, the tools, the app developers are going to evolve to solve it. And that may not be solved in a way you like. Let's look at what happened with pop-up blockers. We all knew pop-ups were a terrible problem. People hated them. But they worked, and it was incredibly hard for industry to say, we got to stop it. In the end, the browsers built in pop-up blockers, and that did a big job to stopping pop-ups. So really hard to have everybody get on the same page when A, people are used to the revenue, and B, when some business models, by definition, are creating the problem because they're aggressive about privacy, they're aggressive about ads taking over the page, or the sponsored content seems to be semi-pornographic, really slimy type of stuff that shows up, really clickbait, even on the most premium publishers' pages. So just a word of caution, we've got to bite the bullet and solve this, but we hope that some of our thoughts here are a little bit illuminating and useful to informing the debate. Shout out to all our Facebook Live friends. Thanks for paying attention.